Hello everyone, welcome to week 2. This week we're going to be focusing on Tuzzy, and I'm going to be leading you through how to navigate our homepage, how to use our catalog search, also how to use our discovery search, and also get you familiarized with these things that we call Boolean operators and truncation and other things like that you may not know now, but hopefully you will by the end of this week. There's going to be 2 video lectures, a handful of required readings, and of course your weekly assignment that I ask you to do for this week. Alright, so first let's talk about Tuzzy. On the left you have a picture of the front of the library, and on the right you have a picture of the whale skull that we have in our parking lot. So Tuzzy is an interesting situation as far as libraries go, because we are technically an academic library through Ilisagavik College, but we also serve the role of a public library here in Utqiagvik, but also in the North Slope in general. As a public library, we do things like lend out materials like books and DVDs that you probably wouldn't see in your average academic library, but again, we're also serving the public, so we have those. And we also do things like host programs that you wouldn't see in the academic library, like story times, chess and board game Saturdays, which y'all are very welcome to come to if you're in the area, and a book club that you're also welcome to come to that's hosted by the Friends of Tuzzy Library here. As an academic library, we provide information resources and services to the college. I teach this course as the academic librarian, and we also host classes, mainly math classes at the moment, in our classroom that we have on site. And then we also have our collection organized by the Library of Congress system. Most public libraries are going to be using the Dewey Decimal System, and that's why it's more broadly known as opposed to the Library of Congress, but again, because we're technically an academic library, we are using the LOC system. I've included in this week's supplemental materials a fun sorting game created by Kent State University, and it helps you figure out exactly how things are organized within the Library of Congress classification system. I personally enjoy sorting things. That's why I became a librarian, in part. You might as well also. And if so, this is going to help you figure out exactly where things go in the library in case you ever decide to come here and try to find some things for yourself, or if you go to any other academic library that uses the Library of Congress system. Because this is an online course, I'm not going to focus too long on how we organize our physical materials, but I do want you to be familiar with it enough that if you do decide to come in, you can find your way around fairly easily. Outlined in the yellow box that just popped up in the lower left corner, these are our materials that are aimed at children and at our young adult patrons. You can see that the top letter or top series of letters in each of these, they are indicating the collection that they're part of. So you have this E over here. E stands for easy, though I personally think it should stand for early, and it designates all of our picture books. And then you have underneath that E 3 letters, and those are the first 3 letters of that author's last name. And I have that book with me at the moment. It looks like that author's last name is Hyde or Heed. I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce that, but that is how we are going to be organizing a lot of these materials that are not in accordance with what the usual Library of Congress system would be. Again, because these are not the usual materials that you would find in the Library of Congress. BB on the far left stands for board book. E, easy, like I said. Next to it is ICR1. You can't quite see the I, but that stands for I Can Read 1. Next to that is J for juvenile fiction, YA for young adult, GN for graphic novel, and YAGN for young adult graphic novel. Our adult graphic novels are organized within the Library of Congress system, and they're going to be out in our main collection in the main floor space. Again, almost all of these have the first 3 letters of the author's last name underneath their collection, with the exception of the manga there, because those series can get so long that we try to differentiate them by having the series name as part of it, as well as the volume number. Moving on to the next two titles. Again, you see they start with a J and a YA at the top respectively. That is indicating juvenile nonfiction and young adult nonfiction. But otherwise, these ones are adhering to the Library of Congress system. And then outlined in the blue and white box, these are your typical examples of a Library of Congress classification. They all start with Z because these are all very similar materials. They're all related to librarianship and books and reading, and you're going to find that each letter, and usually the numbers under that, correspond with a very specific topic of some manner. So because I'm a librarian and I have those last three checked out to me, those are all going to be in the same area of the library, which happens to fall under the Z header. And what you'll learn if you play around with the Library of Congress sorting game that I have in the supplemental materials is that these are correctly ordered, how they would be on the shelf, where they're all Z, and then you have 675, which comes before 733, which comes before 1003. And after that, there's going to be a decimal point, and from there, it gets a little more complicated, which is why you should play the sorting game if you have the time. But it's generally going to be alphabetical and then numeric with how they're sorted, and then a bit more complicated from there. We also have reference and rare materials in our collection. Reference we have out on the floor, but as you can see from the sticker here, these are things that we ask not to be taken out of the library. And then the rare materials are kept back in our archives. Both of these collections you're welcome to look at. If it's for the rare materials, just come up to whoever's at the front desk and say what you're looking for in the rare collection, and we're happy to get our archivist so that he can help you find what you're looking for. And here's my Works Cited page because that meme that I pulled up before was a referenced meme. Right, so now I'm going to take you to our Tuzzy Consortium Library homepage. This has recently fallen under my responsibilities because I'm fairly recent to the job still. And so if you see anything on this webpage that you think could use a little updating or that you're having any issues with, please do let me know because that falls under my purview and I want to make sure that this site gets to be as useful and accessible as it possibly can. So the first thing you see, of course, is going to be the name, but also in this box here is going to be our catalog search. You can also switch it to our website search, which is just going to help you mainly through what we have on this first page here, but also through the menus that we have along the top. Sometimes it needs a second to come back. It's fine. Also in this same box, you have college, which is going to lead you to our subject guides. These are bit outdated at the moment, I will warn you. It is one of our priorities to get those updated. So once this class is underway and everything is copacetic with y'all, I'll be focusing on these to make them as useful as they actually can be. We also have a community tab. A lot of what is here can also be found over in our quick links. We will get to those in just a second. We also have our archives tab. Again, archives is where we have a lot of our rare materials, and it also has a lot of things related to the Tundra Times. We have some audio recordings, we have the photographs. We have quite a bit back there related to the North Slope and Utqiagvik and the Inupiaq. So again, if you're interested in stuff like that, please let us know. Search through the catalog or just come and find us, and we're happy to get you in contact with our archivist. And then along the top, you have the home, which if you click that while you're on home, it's just going to refresh the page. And we have our find menu. This one is probably going to be the most relevant to you as people taking this class because it has our archives and databases. This is going to be extremely useful to you in your research process. We will get deeper into that in our next lecture. You also have the catalog, which is going to take you to the same place as searching in the search bar here on the main page would take you. The college subject guides, which again, we need to update a little bit before they're all that great. Ebooks and audiobooks. This is going to be taking you to the Alaska Digital Library, which you can also see referenced in the quick links here. And I'm actually going to take us there now. This is the main page. You can see that there's this immediate prompt to sign in. In order to sign in, you do need to select your library. And so for us, of course, that's going to be Tuzzy. And then it's going to ask for your card number. You should absolutely have your library card at this point. If you do not, please email me or get in contact with the front desk immediately. You are going to need this number in order to complete your homework assignment this week, and that includes logging in to this website. You have educational videos through Canopy. You also have Canopy linked here. Canopy is a video streaming service that gives you so many tickets per month that you can use to watch whatever they have. Children's videos, you don't have to use video tickets, they're free. And so you can use them for educational purposes, or you can just have fun with it. Canopy has quite a lot to offer. And, then you also have your Inupiat and Arctic resources if you're interested. For services, we do have an events calendar that keeps you informed as to what we have going on here at the library. We have resources for children and teens. We have our interlibrary loan. Interlibrary loan is often abbreviated ILL, and this is something that I want you to be familiar with because we are working in conjunction with several other libraries, both within the North Slope Borough and outside of it. So it is possible while you're researching that you're going to come across a book or an article that you'd really like to read, but we don't have it available, and we don't have it available online either. But because we have those connections to these other libraries, what we can do is place an interlibrary loan for you. And that will have that other library either send the material to us physically or digitally, and then we can loan it out to you just as we would any other library book. The reverse is also true. Sometimes we send off our books physically or digitally to other people, but that is something that may be of interest to you if you come across something that this would really help with your research, but it's not immediately available. You are welcome to reserve a meeting room as well, assuming it's not already reserved. If you need a quiet study space, I would recommend our video conference room. I think it's fairly cozy, and it does have a whiteboard in there if you need to get your thoughts out. Request test proctoring. I don't think that's going to be too relevant to y'all at this point. And then also where I get a library card. Again, if you don't already have a library card, please contact us immediately. You will need it to complete this week's homework assignment. Also, I will give you a hint. This About Tuzzy Library link is also going to help you with your homework assignment, just so y'all know. Then we have the Join Friends of Tuzzy Library. The Friends of Tuzzy Library do a lot of stuff with us, like they host the book club, they host the book sale during the upcoming Piragakta. I'm so sorry for my pronunciation of that. And you also have this link back to Elisagavik College's homepage. If you want to, you can click on staff and see who else is working here. If you wanted to contact our archivist directly, you can click that and it'll take you to him. Locations and hours. If you are in one of the villages up here on North Slope Borough, there should be a library in your village, and they should have at least internet available for you if you need that. And so this can help you determine locations. I don't think the hours are currently accurate on it, though. But if you scroll down on our homepage, for Tuzzy at least, these are our open hours. We recently got them expanded, so Monday, Wednesday, and Friday are still our usual noon to 6 p.m. Tuesday and Thursday have been expanded from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. Saturday is 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Sunday we are closed. And you can tell that I'm recording this before President's Day because we still have our notice about that being an upcoming closure that we have on that Monday. Let's see, what else? Let's go back up. We have our quick links. I already showed you Alaska Digital Library, and I told you about Canopy video streaming. LinkedIn Learning might be helpful if you have some things that you want to work on professionally. Live homework help. That is something that's going to be geared more towards high school age students and younger, but it is provided through statewide library electronic doorway, or SLED. SLED has a lot of other things available that could be useful to you as college students. If you click on that and try to access those materials, you are going to have to call a number to get the login details. It is very quick. It's going to take you to a recording. You just have to write down or type in the information that they're reading off to you. They will repeat it twice. Going back up, we do have subscription available through the New York Times. You do have to make your own account first, but then you can use the code that's linked through here to get your free subscription with that. There's another link to Friends of Tuzzy Library, another link to get a library card, which you should already have, and then the location and hours as well. Then scrolling down, we do have a feed for our events calendar. If you want to see a bit further out than the next 3 events that we have coming up, you can click on the website and it'll show you everything that we have scheduled. We have this sliding carousel of resources and events available. This is the live homework help being advertised again. Then this is... It says new items in our collection. This has been here for a while, so I wouldn't call these materials new, but we are always adding new things to the collection, so feel free to check in there and see what's available. If you click that, it's going to take you to our catalog, and I will show you what that looks like in just a second. And then you also have an advertisement, as it were, for the book club. So this month we are reading The Power of Regret, How Looking Backward Moves Us Forward by Daniel H. Pink. And again, you are very welcome to participate in that if you feel the need. You can see the day and time that we're meeting just below there. And you can also contact Cheryl Hume at that phone number if you're interested in learning more about it, or you can reach out to any of us here at Tuzzy Library. We're happy to help you find out more. On that topic, you see our contact information over here under the Get Help panel. And we also have a feed to our Facebook page, which we do have. So you can see that all across Ilisagavik, everyone's going to be closed for President's Day, which is Monday, February 19th. And then you have our new hours being advertised and other things. We are looking into getting an Instagram, possibly a TikTok. No promises, but just to let you know, if you're interested in that, let me know. Okay. Coming back to the top and looking again at the search area here, currently it is set to catalog search, which is what we want. You also have a website tab, so if you forget anything that I was just telling you, but you remember a few keywords, you can switch to that tab and it'll search through the website and hopefully return the information that you're looking for. We also have links to Discovery Search, My Account, and New Items. My Account and New Items are going to take you into the catalog, which is where we're going right now anyway. And then you also have the Discovery Search, which we will be getting into in my next lecture this week. I am actually going to go ahead and click on My Account first. And this is our catalog. So we share our catalog with a bunch of other libraries in Alaska. So this is actually the Alaska Library Catalog. So you are going to see materials that are not exclusive to Tuzzy in here, but I will show you ways that you can make it exclusive to Tuzzy or to other libraries that you might be interested in finding materials at. And as for that new book link I was mentioning before, this is currently sliding through all of the new books that we currently have available. You can see there's a fair number of them, and you can also change what you might be interested in looking at. So if you're more interested in some of our new DVDs, there we are, we have some. Okay, there's a link that's going to take you back to our library website here, and I will also show you that if you click the Tuzzy Consortium library link up here, it's going to bring you back to our homepage. Now, this is when we're going to get into actually how to use the catalog search. So I decided that I'm personally interested in mermaids, and I would like to know more about how mermaids have been depicted in art. So I am just going to do a broad search for the term mermaid. That's going to bring us into our catalog, and what I want to point out to you right now is that we have the little home button here. That's going to keep you in the catalog. It's not going to take you back to the Tuzzy Consortium homepage. You have all collections here. This is where if you only wanted to search Tuzzy Consortium Library, or maybe you're very specifically interested in ebooks and things like that, you can go to the Alaska Digital Library. And if your professor has said that they have things in our course reserves here, you can search here as well. So those are options. And then you also have all fields. What this means is that for everything that has currently come up, and you can see here that there are 1,268 results found just by searching mermaid. Going through all fields means that anything that is at all related to mermaids, if it's in the title, if it's in the description, if it's one of the subjects, if it's the author's name, then anywhere that that shows up, it is going to show up in this search as a result. But you can also limit those fields. So if I only wanted to look with books or DVDs or what have you that have mermaid in the title, I can choose that. Same with author, same with series, same with subject. Document ID and ISBN might not be too useful to you at the moment. Document ID is going to be specific to any individual material that you're looking at. So if I had 2 copies of this mermaid book, each of those is going to have a unique document ID. Meanwhile, if those are the exact same book and the same format, they're both hardcover, for example, then they're probably going to share the same ISBN, and you can search for that to see if we have that specific book in our collection. There's also the advanced search, which we can click on over here. This is where you can get into a bit more nitpicky grounds where you want all of these words, you want this exact phrasing, you don't want these. So if I'm specifically looking for mermen, or instead of mermaids, this is where I can put mermaids in the fields and then put merman up here, and it's only going to show me merman. Let's see, you can decide that you want to look specifically for books, or you want to look specifically for DVDs or e-audiobooks by choosing the format type. You can limit to any language that you're specifically looking for. You can, again, limit to... Oh, apparently you can't. That's a choice. You can decide that you want a specific title, specific author, a specific subject. You can also decide that you don't want that. And you can also see, this is where you can decide where you want to actually be searching. So if I want to look at Tuzzy, but I also want to look at Nuxut, then I can look only there. Same with only looking at Alaska Digital Library, and I can leave out any libraries that I'm not currently targeting. I'm going to take us back to the basic search though, and show you what else is available. So let's say I'm looking for a very specific book. I don't know anything else other than that mermaid is part of the title, maybe it's the subtitle, maybe it's just the content of the book that I'm remembering, but I do remember who the author is, or I remember who the author isn't. Then that is going to be over here on the left. You can expand this to see that there are many authors, and you can also see all the authors. They are organized here and in the original menu by how many results there are. So it looks like Debbie Datey, whoever they may be, is the most prolific, with Hans Christian Andersen coming up right behind. And I can decide that I want to include only those authors and hit the include button, which will refresh and only show me the books by those authors. You can see that I have now narrowed by these 2 authors. That's what the plus symbol is showing there. But I can also delete that by hitting the X. And if I decide that I don't want either of those, I can choose them again, and I can hit exclude instead of include. And now they're being shown with the minus symbol next to them. So we will get rid of that, and get rid of that one too. And you can do similar things when you're deciding the format. So I do know that I want to be looking for books. So I'm going to go ahead and include books. And I told you earlier that what I'm personally interested in is more things related to mermaids as how they're depicted in art. And technically, I can see making an argument for, oh, you have a lot of mermaids portrayed in children's books, so there's some connection there. but I'm not sure that that's actually where I want to go with my research. So let me look at the subjects again. I definitely want mermaids in there. Let's see. But a lot of this other stuff I'm not sure about. So I'm definitely going to make sure to include those ones. And remember how we had originally 1,200 and I believe 86 results? We have now narrowed it down to 72 with my limiting it to books and mermaids. We're still getting that one particular mermaid book though, and I'm not sure, again, that that's what I want for my research. I'm not sure who the authors I want are, so we're going to still leave that one alone. We've already been through the subjects. I could exclude juvenile works altogether, so let's see that, what it returns. Now we're down to 25 books. Still looking like a lot of picture books, though. That's a bit different. Okay, good to know. And then publication date. So these, like with the authors earlier, are going to be displayed with however many has the most results first. So it looks like 2019 has at least 3 books that have mermaid as a subject and are not juvenile works. So that's coming up first, while everything else has 2. But say you want a range of dates when you're looking for something, we can change it into graph form. And what year was that? That is before 1984. Okay. And this year, there are about 9 that were published from the 2019 to 2023 range. I don't know that I want to limit yet by publication date, because I'm still figuring out exactly what I want to look for in this. So we're going to leave the dates alone for now. English is the only language that's available at the moment for me. And ooh, okay, this book is exactly what I want. So I'm going to open that in a new tab and finish going through. You can see the audience is here with juvenile, adult, easy reading, young adult. Juvenile, again, I decided I don't want that, but 7 seems like a really low number of books. I'm going to include that anyway. Still a lot of the same books, okay. And notice that the book that I was really interested in is no longer there. Technically, that book is not catered to adults. Also, if you were paying attention earlier, you have this library section down here. It has Tuzzy normally as the very top option, so you can select that. But because I decided to limit to only books with adult focus, that has disappeared. So all of these books are available at other libraries that I could potentially get an interlibrary loan for, but I'm not going to be able to find it here at Tuzzy. I'm going to go back and I'm going to get rid of that include audience factor. Scroll down. Okay, there's that book, and I'm going to see what this one book left at Tuzzy is. Stars and Teeth. Interesting. And it's a juvenile fiction, okay. And there you can see mermaids as juvenile fiction, but we excluded that, so it must be the mermaids fiction that this search is picking up on. Okay. Well, I'm not so much interested in that, but I am still very interested in this. So you can see that this is the detailed record of this particular book. It's going to have the title up here. You're going to have the authors here, and you're also going to have, in this case, the personal author. It is linked, so if I want to see other things written by Axel Mueller, then I can click on that, and it's going to take me to a list of books that are by him. You have more information about who and where and when it was published, which can be very useful when you're making citations. A physical description, the ISBN, bibliography notes, the subject terms, mermaids, and art. Like I said, that's kind of what I'm interested in seeing, so I'm going to open that in a new tab to look at in more depth. And there's also mermaids in literature, and I can see broadening my personal definition of art to include that, so I'm going to open that in a new tab as well. Contents, so I can get an idea of what's actually conceived in there. There's a mention of Hans Christian Andersen. No, that's not Hans Christian Andersen. That's just Christian. Okay, okay. And also, the main takeaway that I want you to get from this page is the location. So, like we noted earlier, when I started searching specifically for books focused on adults, that for whatever reason excluded this book and also made Tuzzy disappear as an option. So this is where you can see all the locations that a book exists. So I'm going to search for Mermaid again, and I'm specifically going to narrow it to Tuzzy Consortium, which gives us 41 results. And if I'm just going to click on this first, The Little Mermaid, and scroll down, and oh, okay, it looks like Tuzzy Consortium is the only place with that book. Let me go back. For whatever reason, this one is coming up as being at Tuzzy, even though we don't actually have a copy. Interesting. But you can see that this has a much longer list of the various places that you can find this book. It's also going to let you know whether it's checked in which case it won't have a due date after it, or if it's checked out, which will show a due date following it. And it's also going to include the call number. So that's what we were looking at earlier with the Library of Congress. That's called a call number, the series of letters and numbers. And it's going to give you an indication of where you're going to find it in that particular library according to their system, whatever it may be. Based on a lot of this, I would think that these people are using the Dewey Decimal System because it's not the series of letters and numbers that we were looking at when we were looking at materials for Tuzzy Consortium Library. Okay, but let's see. So we were looking at mermaids and art, how to draw a mermaid and other cute creatures. And that's not quite what I'm after. This one is just called Mermaids. That could potentially be of interest. There's that mermaids, art, symbolism, and mythology, which is more in line with what I'm looking for my assignment that I've assigned myself. There's that mermaid handbook again. I think I'm going to have to look at that one too, just to get a better idea of what is in it and whether or not it's going to be of interest to me. I'm going to open that one in a new tab, open this one again, and look at the mermaids in literature. So we're getting some very similar things to what we were getting earlier. This could be of interest, the Penguin Book of Mermaids. Penguin is a publisher that will often collect treasuries, as they say here, about specific themes or by specific authors. So this could be a good example of the variety of ways that mermaids have been depicted in literature. So I might be interested in that. Here's the second page. I am seeing a lot more juvenile fiction again. Again, I don't think that's quite what I want with what I'm looking for. So we're going to close that. And I think these three books are a good starting place. So I want to make sure that I can find these again. What I'm going to do is I'm going to log in, but I'm actually going to do that off screen because I don't want y'all to see my login information. Okay, and what that did was open a pop-up window where I put in my library card and my PIN number. PIN. If you don't have your PIN, please reach out either to me or to the library and we will get you set up with one. Right. And so now what we have at the top here, we had the login button earlier. It has become log out. We have the My Account option, which still exists, and we have the My List option. And that is what I'm interested in right now, because My List is where you can go and you can save materials so that you can come and reference them later. And right here, we have this drop-down menu that has Select an Action and then Add to My Lists. And that is exactly what we're doing. It has been successfully added. Wonderful. And I'm going to go into My Lists. And you can see it's immediately taking me to a temporary list. If you save something to your lists and you are not logged in, it is going to be saved to this temporary list, but it is not going to last forever. It is very much so temporary. So you want to make sure to either log in first and then save things to your list, or you want to come in. If there's a book here, you can select an action and you can move it. And moving it I know, moving it, you can move it to your wish list. Here and immediately scrolling down, I have a lot of things on here. You can see that the Penguin Book of Mermaids has now been added to my list. A bunch of other stuff there. And now that I've closed that, even though it doesn't say login, if I refresh this page, even though it does say login, and you can see that I'm logged in now, I'm going to add that one to my list, successfully added. I'm going to add that one to my list. So that's a decent place to start off with. I'm going to take us back to the Tuzzy Consortium library homepage now. And what we are going to focus on in the next lecture is going to be the discovery search. Because as you saw, even though we found 3 materials, which actually is pretty good. It was more than what I was expecting on this particular topic. But if I want more, and I'm going to need more, then I need to do a bit deeper searching, and I need to look at a lot more locations than what's available through the Alaska Library catalog. And so that's where discovery search is going to come in and play a role. All right, everyone. So that was a bit of a longer lecture than I wanted it to be, but I wanted to make sure that you're very familiar with what we have available both on our homepage and when we do the catalog search. If you have any questions, please do reach out and contact me. A lot of what I just showed you is going to be what you are doing in this week's homework assignment. So as usual, we are going to have I might have to change the hours for our office hours this week. I will let you know if that happens, both through email and announcements. But feel free to contact me through email, through the phone if you prefer. And if you have another time that would work better for a Zoom, feel free to reach out and I will do my best to make an appointment with you if that works for both of us. Okay, everyone, thank you very much. I will get that other lecture up immediately. You should already be able to see it. And you should also have your required readings available to you, the supplementary materials if you're interested in those, and also the homework assignment. As always, feel free to reach out if you need to. Okay, see you in the next lecture.